so nice to see you all. So many of my dear friends from all over. David Jones is here. He drove up from Florida overnight. Well, he had been in Florida. So this will be something of a slight retrospective, remembering a few friends. And here's one, start off with one that I learned initially from Luke Hillen, Louisa Joe, with who I sang in the, I met around 1969 or 1970. And this is one of Blues. And it's one of those songs that isn't sung that much anymore because it is such a great chorus song that everybody sang it to death, which is why I'm doing it now. Because you'll all know it, and we can test all the chorus singing as we go. As soon as I remember the tune, because I had another one in my head. It was pleasant and delightful on a midsummer's morn, where the green fields and the meadows, they were buried in corn, and the blackbirds and the thrushes sang on every green spray, and the larks, they sang melodious at the dawning of the day, and the larks, they sang melodious, and the larks, they sang melodious, and the larks, they sang melodious at the dawning of the day. Now a sailor and his trio were walking one day. Said the sailor to his true love, I am bound far away. I am bound for the East Indies, where the loud cannons roar. I must go and leave you, Nancy. You're the girl that I adore. I must go and leave you, Nancy. I must go and leave you, Nancy. I must go and leave you, Nancy. You're the girl that I adore. Then the ring from off of her finger she instantly drew, saying, take this, dearest William, and me heart will go too. And as he stood embracing her, tears from her eyes fell, saying, may I go along with you? Oh, no, me love, farewell. Saying, may I go along with you? Saying, may I go along with you? Saying, may I go along with you? Oh, no, me love, farewell. Said the sailor to his true love, well, I must be on my way, for our topsails they are hoisted and our anchors away. Our good ship, she lies awaiting for the next flowing tide, and if ever I return again, I will make you my bride. And if ever I return again, and if ever I return again, and if ever still think that's a great song. So. And, so is this one. This is a version of kind of a slightly more genteel version of All for Me Grog, which is a song that a lot of pub singers sing as the evening wears on. But this version was collected in Derbyshire by Roy Harris, who was another dear friend. He toured quite a bit. He's sadly no longer with us. But he collected it on a bus trip into the wilds of North Derbyshire. I think he lived in Nottingham at the time. And found this lovely lady who only sang this one song and had a number of stories, and I think made quite excellent elderberry wine, of which Roy partook in some quantity, and fell asleep on the bus and missed his stop when he got home. And when he finally got to the depot, he left his tape recorder on the bus, but did recover it, and so we have this song. It's called All Through the Ale. The confounded ale, all through the ale and tobacco, with a whack fall the day, fall the diddle all the day. That's there, possibly because some words were lost, possibly. Who knows about these whack fall the doll choruses? All through the ale and tobacco. Confounded ale, all through the ale and tobacco, with a whack from the day, from the diddle on the day, all through the ale and tobacco. The hat that I have on, it is a greasy one, and as you can tell by its shining, it used to fasten up with a button and a loop, but now it's all worn out to the lining. It's all through the ale, the confounded ale, all through the ale and tobacco, with a whack from the day, from the diddle of the day, all through the ale and tobacco. And the coat that I have on, it is so far run down. It's out at the sleeves and the elbow. It's needing of repair like a soldier in despair that's been 7 years in the battle. It's all through the ale, the compounded ale, all through the ale and tobacco. With a whack from the day, from the diddle of the day, all through the ale and tobacco. And the breeches I have on, they are so far run down, me legs you so plainly can see them. Pockets I have too, but it's so long since they was new, and I never have a penny to put in them. All through the ale, the confounded ale, all through the ale and tobacco, with a whack from the day, from the diddle of the day, all through the ale and tobacco. Stockings I have too, but I never had a shoe, and me boots, they are open to all weathers. I pulled them off and on till the undersoles are gone, and shockingly destroyed the upper leathers. It's all through the ale, the confounded ale, all through the ale and tobacco, with a whack from the day, from the diddle of the day, all through the ale and tobacco. As and me rags, I don't give a jag. I'm not afraid that anyone should rob me. And when I am dead, you can put it on me grave. I left this old world as it found me. All through the ale, the confounded ale, all through the ale and tobacco. With a whack for the day, for the diddle of the day, all through the ale and tobacco. I do have a cheat sheet here. Slowly giving into age. So this is another chorus song for you. Start off in a cheery manner. This one was written by a couple of music hall writers, and R.P. Weston and Bert Lee. They're known for a whole range of songs. They wrote I'm Henry VIII, I Am, among other things. But this one tells of the delights of a certain beverage, which I left over there, actually. It's coffee. And the chorus goes, what I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper... No comments from the back, please. Made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot. Tin coffee pots and iron coffee pots, they're no use to me if I can't have a proper cup of coffee from a proper cup of coffee, but I'll have a cup of tea. Very good, very good. Now, you won't recognize perhaps a lot of the verses of this because they were put together in part by we did a music hall show about 7 or 8 years ago. We did it right here with my friend Judy Staber from Chatham, New York, an English lady who, she used to write English pantomimes, but she came up with some verses, and I played around with them a little bit, and this is the way they came out. I think the first verse is an original, but... The Sultan sat on his oriental mat in his harem, High Street, Persia. He took one sip of his coffee, just a drip, and he said to his slave, oh, curse ya, oh, curse ya, curse ya, curse ya. This is the horriblest coffee in Persia. What I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot. Tin coffee pots and iron coffee pots, they're no use to me if I can't have a proper cup of coffee from a proper cup of coffee pot. I'll have a cup of tea. Scarlatti sat with his sonata in B-flat. That's on harpsichord, not piano. His wife came in with for her a double gin, and for him Cafe Americano. Said he, Maria Caterina, I not want that, nor even cappuccino. What I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot. Tin coffee pots and iron coffee pots, they're no use to me if I can't have a proper cup of coffee from a proper cup of coffee, but I'll have a cup of tea. Admiral Byrd said I must have a word with the cook for my polar excursion, north or south, as to what goes in my mouth. I have a most particular aversion, for I can't stand and I will not abide that abomination they call freeze-dried. What I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot. Tin coffee pots and iron coffee pots, they're no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee from a proper cup of coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea. When Ahab sailed for the great white whale, he said gruffly to his first mate, This excuse for Joe makes my stomach want to throw. It's not fitting for my breakfast plate. This beverage is subpar muck. I thought your name was Starbuck. What I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot. Tin coffee pots and iron coffee pots, they're no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee from a proper cup of coffee pot, I'll have a cup of tea. Oh, what I want is a proper cup of coffee made in a proper cup of coffee pot. I may be off my dot, but I want a cup of coffee from a proper coffee pot. Tin coffee pots and iron coffee pots, they're no use to me. If I can't have a proper cup of coffee from a proper cup of coffee, I'll have a cup of tea. Thank you. And now for something completely different. My God, I'll have to drink up quickly. If I try not to belch at you too much. Another of the people I got to know on my travels, initially on my travels, because I met him and stayed with him in Norfolk in England, was Peter Bellamy. And one of the things that Peter was well known for, snuff, yeah, that too, was he setting Kipling's poetry to music. And this was one of his barrack room ballads, one of the best known of the barrack room ballads, his tribute to the common English soldier, G.I. Joe in this country, Tommy Atkins in England. I went into a public house to get a pint of beer. The publican he upped and said, we serve no redcoats here. The girls behind the bar, they laughed, giggled fit to die. I out into the streets again, and to myself says I, oh, it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and Tommy go away. But it's thank you, Mr. Atkins, when the band begins to play. The band begins to play, me boys. The band begins to play. It's thank you, Mr. Atkins, when the band begins to play. I went into a theatre as sober as can be. They give a drunk civilian room, but they had none for me. They sent me to the galleries or round the music halls. But when it comes to fighting, Lord, they shove me in the stalls. For it's Tommy this and Tommy that and Tommy wait outside. But it's special train for Atkins when the trooper's on the tide. The troop ship's on the tide, me boys, troop ship's on the tide. It's special train for Atkins when the trooper's on the tide. Yes, making mocker uniforms what guard you while you sleep. It's cheaper than them uniforms and they're starvation cheap. And hustling drunken soldiers when they're going large a bit. Why, it's 5 times better business than parading in full kit. For it's Tommy this and Tommy that and Tommy, how's your soul? But it's thin red line of heroes when the drums begin to roll. The drums begin to roll, me boys, drums begin to roll. Yes, it's thin red line of heroes when the drums begin to roll. Well, we ain't no thin red heroes and we ain't no blackguards too. We're just single men in barracks, most remarkable like you. And if sometimes our conduct isn't all your fancy paints, why, single men in barracks don't grow into plaster saints. For it's Tommy this and Tommy that and it's Tommy this and Tommy that. Tommy wait outside, but it's special train for Atkins now. But it's pleased to walk in front, sir. Well, it's Tommy this and Tommy that and Tommy fall behind. But it's pleased to walk in front, sir, when there's trouble in the wind. Trouble in the wind, me boys, trouble in the wind. It's pleased to walk in front, sir, when there's trouble in the wind. You talk of better food for us and schools and fires and all. We'll wait for extra rations if you treat us rational. Don't muck about the cookroom slops, but prove it to our face. The widow's uniform is not the soldier man's disgrace. For it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and chuck him out, the brute. But it's saviour of his country when the guns begin to shoot. Yes, it's Tommy this and Tommy that, and anything you please. But Tommy ain't no bloomin' fool, you bet that Tommy sees. Well, I think I'll follow that with a little recruiting song. This one I learned from a couple of Scotsmen, although it's almost certainly Irish. Oh, as I was walking down the street, I was feeling light and lucky, oh, when a recruiting sergeant stepped up to me, says, "You look fine in khaki, oh, for the king he is in need of men. Come read this proclamation, oh, and it's life in Flanders for you then. 'Twill be a lovely vacation, oh." Then says I to the sergeant, then says I, come tell me, sergeant dearie-o, if I had a cap stuck on me back, would I look bright and cheery-o? For you'd make me drill and march until you had me like the Frenches-o. It may be warm in Flanders, but it's drafty in the trenches-o. Then the sergeant twirled his little cane, and his smile was most provoking, and he twirled and twiddled his wee moustache, says he, surely a joking, for the sandbags, they are lovely and high, and the winds you'd never feel blowing, But I winked to Colleen passing by, says I, what if it's snowing, Oh, come wind, come rain, come sleet and snow, we're not going out to Flanders, There's fighting in Dublin to be done, let your captains and commanders go, and let Englishmen for England fight, and it's time that they got started, And I bid that sergeant a very good night, and there and then we parted, The recruiting sergeant. Well, since I've done one Irish song, you can't do just one, right? This has been one of my favorites for a while. It tells the story of Ireland and its relationship to England over a few hundred years. And the analogy is spinning. It's called The Wheels of the World. And it has a chorus. These are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years, they've been spinning destruction all over the land. It's probably written in the mid-1850s or so, and published as a broadside ballad. These broadside ballads were distributed, sold for a penny, whatever, and the ballad singer would sing the tune. Occasionally, you see a reference to a tune on the ballad sheet, and very occasionally, you see written music, but usually it's supposed to be done to a well-known tune. And the tune of this is it's known as a slip jig. It's set to a number of different Irish songs, some in Gaelic, some in English. This one is in English. My Gaelic is even worse than my Welsh. There was a lot of sympathy for Ireland and the Irish people among the common people of Britain, even when Parliament didn't do very well by Ireland. So this is a bit about that, not to mention religion. Yeah. Try that again. Come all of you true sons of Erin, attend to these few simple lines. I'll sing you a song about spinning. It was a good trade in old times. Some they spun worsted and yarn, others spun flax and spun tow. By experience now you may learn how the wheels of the world they do go. And these are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. Luther spun out his existence, and so did King Henry VIII. Calvin, by Satan's temptations, their maxims he did imitate. Then Cranmer, he joined the new system. He swore he'd make spindles of steel. Pluto himself did assist him. Perdition was turning their wheel. And these are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. William Pitt, he was a great spinner, as also was Lord Castlereagh. They spun out a union for Ireland, to England they shipped it away. Pitt spun out his existence, crossed over on Charon's old boat. Lord Castlereagh saved the distance by slitting the rim of his throat. And these are the wheels of the world, friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. Lord Nelson, he was a great spinner on board of the ship Victory. He was counted the greatest of spinners that ever set sail on the sea. His shipmates were all famous spinners. For Nelson they spun very well. But the French spun a ball at Trafalgar, and on the ship's deck Nelson fell. And these are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. And Napoleon was a great spinner. He freedom did always advance. Over deserts and high lofty mountains he marched with the brave sons of France. But Wellington too went a-spinning. His wheels they were at Waterloo. But if Grouchy had never been bribed, sure the French would have split him in two. And these are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. John Mitchell, that true son of Erin, he swore that a spinner he'd be. He set all his wheels in full motion, his dear native land to set free. But John Bull, that crafty old tyrant at spinning, was fully bent. So over to Van Diemen's Island the sons of old Erin were sent. And these are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. And the factory owners are spinning, their wheels they are turning away. Now they're expecting their workers to slave 15 hours a day. They don't give a damn for the poor, they heed not their sighs nor their moans. They don't give a pin if they spin till they've spun all the flesh from their bones. And these are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. And the rich, they're all famous spinners, of that we are very well sure, always contriving and scheming to grind down the rights of the poor. So if you intend to go spinning, be sure that your spindle's of steel. Let liberty then be your motto, and glory will turn your big wheel. And these are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. Yes, these are the wheels of the world, my friends, you must all understand. For 300 years they've been spinning destruction all over the land. Well, from one wordy song to another. You'll notice that I love these wordy songs, even when I can't remember them anymore. But this one is, it almost defines ballad, a narrative story, and it's one that everybody these days knows the plot of, and it was set into verse in Broad Scots by Adam McNaughton, who is, as far as I know, a songwriter in Glasgow, I think. He used to own a bookstore, but I think he retired from that. And he wrote this, and our friend Martin Carthy, it's not true that everything I learned from Martin Carthy. I hasten to point out, but I have learned a lot from him, and this is one that I had to learn. I haven't done it for a long time, but here you go. There was this king sitting in his garden all alone, when his brother in his ear poured a little bit of henbane, stole his brother's crown and his money and his widow. But the dead king walked and got his son and said, "Hey, listen, kiddo, I've been killed, and it's your duty to take revenge on Claudius. Kill him quick and clean and tell the nation what a fraud he is." The kid said, "Right, I'll do it, but I'll have to do it crafty so that no one will suspect me. I'll kid on that I'm a dafty." So with all except Horatio, and he counts him as a friend, Hamlet, that's the king, he kids on he's round the bend, and because he isn't ready for obligatory killing, he tries to make the king think that he's tuppence off the shilling, takes a rise out of Polonius, treats poor Ophelia vile, tells Morgenstern, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Denmark's a bloody jail. Then a group of travelling actors like 784 arrive to do a special one-night gig in Elsinore. Hamlet, Hamlet loves his mommy. Hamlet, Hamlet, acting balmy. Hamlet, Hamlet, hesitating, wonders if the ghost's a cheat, and that is why he's waiting. So Hamlet wrote a scene for the players to enact, so Horatio and he could watch and see if Claudius cracked. Well, the play was called The Mousetrap, not the one that's running now. And sure enough, the king walked out before the play was through. Now Hamlet's got the proof, his uncle gave his dad the dose. The only problem being now that Claudius knows he knows. So while Hamlet tells his mother her new husband's not a fit one, Uncle Claude puts out a contract with the English king as hitman. And when Hamlet killed Polonius, the concealed corpus delicti was the king's excuse to send him for an English hempen necktie, with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to make quite sure he got there. But Hamlet jumped the boat and put the finger straight on that pair. When Laertes heard his dad and be stabbed in the arras, he came running back to Elsinore, toot sweet, hot foot from Paris, and Ophelia with her dad killed by the man she was to marry. After saying it with flowers, she committed harry-carry. Hamlet, Hamlet, no messing. Hamlet, Hamlet learned his lesson. Hamlet, Hamlet, Yorick's crust convinced him that men, good or bad, at last must come to dust. Then Laertes lost his place and was demanding retribution. The king said, "Keep your head and I'll provide you a solution." So he arranged a sword fight for the interested parties, with a blunted sword for Hamlet and a sharp one for Laertes. To make double sure the old belt and braces line, he fixed a poisoned sword tip and a poisoned cup of wine. Well, the poisoned sword got Hamlet, but Laertes went and muffed it, 'cause he got stabbed himself and he confessed before he snuffed it. Then Hamlet's mummy drank the wine, and as her face was turning blue, Hamlet said, I believe the king's a baddie through and through. Incestuous, murderous, damned Dane, he said, to be precise, and made up for hesitation, hated once by killing Claudius twice, because he stabbed him with a knife, then forced the wine between his lips. He said, the rest is silence. That was Hamlet at his chips. They fired a volley over him that shook the topmost rafter, and fought in brass, knee-deep in Danes, lived happy ever after. Hamlet, Hamlet, ain't it gory? Hamlet, Hamlet, end of story. Hamlet, Hamlet, I'm on my way. If you thought that was confusing, read the bloody play. Thank you. Well, I'm going to do one more in this set. This is another little chorus song. It's called, it was written by John Connolly, who everyone knows from Fiddler's Green, which he wrote. And it's called The Broadside Man. We had examples of a broadside earlier, and these were the things that were sold in the streets. So it's a good song to finish with because it advertises the super mall over here. So should you be passing along this street and you see the broadside lady, who will be happy to... And I've got a deal on CDs today. It's really... We're celebrating. So... $80. Yeah. I didn't think of that. No, $10 a piece. So, come and buy, be you poor or gentry. Gather round the broadside man and lay your money down. Ballads long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. I often sang this, and we used it as the title song for an album that Debra Cowan and I did a few years ago. So here we go. I got to remember these things. Yeah, not there. There. Too many buttons. What's the matter? Come on, John. I practice too. Here's the chorus. Come and buy, be a poor or gentry. Gather round the broadside man and lay your money down. Ballads long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. There are floods in Worcester town, and the rain is tumbling down. A most amazing monster has been captured in the Dee. Here's the bold and stirring tale of the hunting of the whale, and the story of a parson who was pressed away to sea. Come and buy, be a poor or gentry. Gather round the broadside man and lay your money down. Ballads long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. Here's the finest sheets of all, fresh today from Stationers' Hall. A newly written ballad of Lord Nelson's victory, and the news from all the courts, the cases and reports, and the story of a parson who was pressed away to sea. Come and buy, be a poor or gentile. Gather round the broadside, man, and lay your money down. Ballads long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. Here's the story of a maid of a brisk and rambling trade, betraying of a tinker who was taken by her charms, and the story of a wife, it's the truth upon me life, who came upon her husband rolling in a milkmaid's arms. Come and buy, be a poor or gentile. Gather round the broadside, man, and lay your money down. Ballads long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. Come and buy, be a poor or gentile. Gather round the broadside, man, and lay your money down. Ballads long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. Thank you. Take a short break. Thank you very much indeed.
Don't go anywhere, John. Because, of course, we started this streaming after everybody sang Happy Birthday, so we're going to do it again. Because you can never sing that song too many times. You can never celebrate your birthday too many times. So one more time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
Ooh, nice call.
So the 80 or so people online have now heard it. Okay, if you don't know it, on your right are the snacks and the birthday cake waiting for you to go get it. And on your left is the John Roberts Mall. Okay, this is where you spend any money you My assistant director, Dan Roser, who's actually at home with COVID, so he isn't here tonight, but he's watching online. Say hi, Dan. Our sound guy, Keith Rivers. My love, my heart, who did sound for a number of years and who, as he says, picks things up and puts them down, Chris Caldaway. You should know that the Quebec government office in New York has been supporting a lot of our Quebecois artists, both for the festival and here at the concert series, so we always like to thank them. They've been great, so. And the New York, NISCA, New York State Council on the Arts, who has been giving us some really wonderful funding over the last few years, both operation support and capital support. The sound system was through a grant. We're getting the building re-sided, which is through another grant. So they've been just great. So. Ultimately, none of this would have been possible if Andy Spence didn't have this vision back in 1977. And she worked tirelessly through her retirement when she declared her retirement in 2018, and she still does tons of things at the festival. So we hope to carry on the legacy well into the future. And of course, the Old Songs Board that works tirelessly to support all the programs, concerts, and festivals. So to the board, thank you. So coming up, we do have one more event. It's not a concert. It's Spring into Uke. If you want to learn how to play the ukulele, it's a full day with Jim Beloff and Ron Gordon, and it is May 11th. It's just next week. So there are still spots available. Consider doing that. And we can't forget, of course, the festival. June 28th to 30th. We still need volunteers if you'd like to volunteer, from everything from parking to workshops, stage managers. There's all sorts of ways to volunteer. What else am I forgetting? Probably everything. Okay, if you haven't signed a birthday card to John, they're in the back and you can sign it on your way out. We're just going to leave them there. And please dispose of any trash you have in the bins around the place. And, and that's about it for announcements. You're tired of listening to me talk, and I want to hear more of John, so I think you do too. John Roberts.
Well, thank you. And thanks to all the people that Joy thanked. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So one of the things that I do quite a lot of is sea songs. So I thought, since the first set was devoid pretty much of sea songs, unless you count Pleasant and Delightful, which I thought I do some of the sea songs that I do. And this one was it's a rewrite sort of the famous Burl Ives classic, the Eddystone Light song. But this version comes from Cyril Tawney, who bought himself out of the Navy in the around late 50s, I think, or early 60s, and wrote songs and sang folk songs and sang traditional songs as well as the songs that he wrote. So this one came from him, which he put together from two other versions. It's called The Man at the Nore. The Nore is a sand spit in the Thames estuary, upon which, in 1797, if I recall correctly, the world's first light ship was moored. As a mark of the danger to shipping. So the rolling Nore, the raging Nore, the rolling Nore, the waves they tumble, o'er and o'er. There's no such a life to be had on shore. as the one that's led by the man at the Nore. So there you go, an easy chorus. Now me father was the keeper of the Eddystone Light, and he married a mermaid one fine night. From this union there came three. Two of them was fishes and the other was me. Now when I was but a bit of a slip, I was put in charge of the Nore lightship. I kept me lamps in very fine style, doing of the work according to Hoyle. Oh, the raging Nore, the rolling Nore, the waves they tumble o'er and o'er. There's no such a life to be had on shore as the one that's led by the man at the Nore. Well, one evening as I was a-trimming of the glim, a-singing a verse from the evening hymn, I spied by the light of me signal lamp the form of me mother looking awfully damp. Just then a voice cried out, ahoy, and there she was, just a-sitting on a buoy. That's meaning a boy for the ships that sail, not a boy that's a juvenile male. Oh, the raging Nore, the rolling Nore, the waves they tumble o'er and o'er. There's no such a life to be had on shore as the one that's led by the man at the Nore. Says I to me mother, now how do you do? And how's me father and me sisters too? Says she, it's an orphan and you are. You've only one sister and you've got no pa. Your father was drowned with severial pals and digested by the cannibals. Of your sisters, a one was cooked in a dish, the other one is kept as a talking fish. Oh, the raging Nore, the rolling Nore, the waves they tumble o'er and o'er. There's no such a life to be had on shore as the one that's led by the man at the Nore. Well, at that I wept like a soft-eyed scamp, and me tears, they made the waters damp. Says I to me mother, won't you step within? You look so wet just to dry your skin. Says she, I like the wet, me dear. Said I, let me offer you the cabin chair. Me mother, she looked at me with a frown. It's owing to my nature that I can't sit down. Oh, the raging Nore, the rolling Nore, the waves they tumble o'er and o'er. There's no such a life to be had on shore as the one that's led by the man at the Nore. Says me mother, now never you go on shore, but always remain the man at the Nore, with a tight coat, a glistening scale. That was the end of me mother's tale. Now in deference to this maternal wish, I can't visit Miss Sister, the talking fish. So if you see her when you get on shore, give her the regards of the man at the Nore. Oh, the raging Nore, the rolling Nore, the waves they tumble o'er and o'er. There's no such a life to be had on shore as the one that's led by the man at the Nore. Thank you. Well, I am actually trying to, I couldn't quite get it out in time for this concert, but I am trying to do a new recording of sea songs, and it'll include this next one, which is a poem by Cicely Fox Smith. And I heard it as a song. I first heard it as a song from my namesake, Bob Roberts, no relative. Bob was the owner and sailor captain of the Cambria, which was the last of the Thames sailing barges. And he played a button accordion and sang songs. He made a number of recordings, and I heard this one from him. So as far as I know, the tune came from him. I don't know any other source for it. I also went back to the original poem and found some of the original words. But this is the story of a race between two Australian clipper, on the Australian run. They would have been wool ships. There were the tea clippers from China and the wool clippers from Australia, bringing in the wool at the start of the season. And the races were somewhat informal, but it was always good to get the early start because you always got the best prices if you landed there first. So this is called When We Raced the Robin Adair. Now I've never done much good in me time. I'm a has-been through and through. And meanings as far as I mostly got with the things I've been meaning to do. Blowing me chances, wasting me pay, of these I've had me share. But I was one of the clansman's crowd when we raced the Robin Adair. There was Dan and Clancy and Liverpool Bill, these were the pick of the lot. And a Glasgow lad who swore like mad, but his name I clean forgot. A big tough Scouser and a cockeyed Swede, and a kid from the County Clare. And we made up the starboard watch when we raced the Robin Adair. Now Dan was lost from a topsail yard in the Pole Star years ago. Clancy died with a knife in his side in a bar in Calais. Bill got married, settled down, and the rest God knows where. But that was all so long ago when we raced the Robin Adair. We was yardarm to yardarm off Sydney Heads, then she began to blow, and soon the clansman was reeling 'em off 17 knots or so. The old man grinned as he faced the wind, says, "This is the weather for her." And I'm thinking we've seen the last, he says, of the wonderful Robin Adair. Till early one morning we was climbing the trades, the day had just begun. We spied a ship hull down astern, coming along like fun. The old man clasped his glass to his eye, and you should have heard him swear. For up from the south, with a bone in her mouth, there came the Robin Adair. Well, we started to pile the canvas on, and it had to stay there too. 'Twas a rare old breeze in the morning, but by God, that night it blew. I've seen some strange things in me time, but it surely make you stare. Clapping on sail in a Biscay gale, just to beat the Robin Adair. Well, we made the London River that night by 12 at the whopping clock. I counted the chimes as we tied her up to the boys in the London dock. We'd won that race from the width of the world with the tail of a tide to spare. But that was all so long ago when we raced the Robin Adair. Now these old ships has gone to chips, these 40 years or more. They sold her off to a foreign bunch, but the blighters, they ran her ashore. But somewheres around the Ramillies, south on the Strait, with the dolphins cruising around her ribs, there lies the Robin Adair. Thank you. Thank you. Well, this is one of my favorite sea ballads. I'll do a couple of the ballads that are actually in the Francis James Child collection, who in the late 19th century compiled a book of the English and Scottish popular ballads, by which he meant not that everybody knew them, but that they were of the people, and hardly anybody knew them. But that's all changed with the folk revival. But this one is called Captain Ward and the Rainbow. Captain Ward is here. Yes. I had a birthday card a few years ago now from Captain Ward, wishing birthday greetings to the dread pirate Roberts. But this is the Captain Ward of the early 1600s. He was a real pirate, had a castle on the Barbary coast, on the North African shore in the Mediterranean, but disappeared off the historical record in around 1610, and nobody really knows what happened to him. But this is him wanting to come home to England, perhaps. Come, all ye gallant seamen, bold all of you that march to the drum. Let us go seek for Captain Ward, who on the seas is come. He is the greatest robber, as you shall quickly hear. There's not been such a robber found this last 400 years. Now the king, he got a letter on the 6th of January. Says, let bold Captain Ward come in with all his company. If that ye do let him in until his tale is told, for ransom he will offer ye 20 tons of gold. Oh no, says the royal king, such things they never can be. With such an arrant robber, myself could ne'er agree. He has robbed the king of France, likewise the king of Spain. How could he be true to me that has been false to twain? And the king, he has provided a ship of noble fame called the Royal Rainbow, if you would know her name. She was as well provided for as any ship could be, with full 500 men on board to bear her victory. And when the Royal Rainbow came where Captain Ward did lie, who is the master of this ship? The Rainbow's crew did cry. The same am I, says Captain Ward, why ashamed I never will be. And if you are some English ship, you're welcome unto me, for I never robbed an English ship, just France's ships and Spain's. Likewise the blackguard Dutchman I met upon the main. And had I got a letter through these 2 weeks past or 3, I would have spared Lord Essex's life, and that pains me grievously. Five o'clock that morning they began to fight, and so it did continue till 9 o'clock at night. Fight on, wait on. Yeah. Try that again. 9 o'clock that morning they began to fight, and so it did continue till 9 o'clock at night. Fight on, says Captain Ward, your fight well pleases me. And if I fight a month or more, your master I will be. Then the Royal Rainbow, she fired but fired in vain, till full 400 of her crew upon the deck lay slain. Go home, says Captain Ward, tell your king from me. He may rule king o'er all the land, but Ward is king on sea. Losing my voice there. Now I'll belch out yours. Do it. Wow. Okay. I'm going to do one more child ballad. This is one of my favorite child ballads. It's usually called the Golden Vanity, and I've rarely heard a version of it that I didn't like. And the thing about it is there is a sort of standard ending. It's the one where the cabin boy takes an auger, a magic auger, it seems, and bores a hole and sinks the enemy Spaniard or Turk or whatever it happens to be, for a supposed reward from his captain, which often winds up being left to rot at the bottom of the sea. However, once I started to research this song, I found other versions of it with different endings, and this is one of those. This was collected by Helen Harkness Flanders, the Vermont folk song collector, and she got it from a lady in New Hampshire named Lena Bourne Fish, or Grammy Fish. And This has a completely different ending. And then I found a Scottish version with another different ending, which I also learned. So it's a song that I've learned and sung 3 totally different versions of. But this one I got from Margaret MacArthur, who found it in the in Helen Flanders' papers, which were left to her after Helen Flanders passed away. Margaret was a very dear friend from, I first met her, I think in 1969, not too long after I'd come to this country. And another one, sadly, no longer with us. A sailing ship was fashioned to sail the southern seas, far from the lowlands alone. She was handsome, she was tall, and as trim could be. The name of the ship was the Weeping Willow Tree. That ship built in the lowlands, low, born to ride the waves high-ho. Her crew were hearty seamen, as brave could be. Lads from the lowlands low. Her decks were broad and wide, and as white could be. And on her sail was printed a weeping willow tree. The ship built in the lowlands, low, born to ride the waves high-ho. This worthy ship was chosen to sail the Spanish Main, to sail the southern seas, far from the lowlands low. Her captain, he was shrewd. Her captain, he was shrewd, and was also proud and vain, and he hoped by his shrewd dealings a fortune for to gain. In this ship built in the lowlands, low, born to ride the waves high-ho. And as our ship was sailing all on the southern seas, far from the lowlands low, we met a Spanish ship called the Royal Castile. They jeered at the crew of the Weeping Willow Tree. That ship built in the lowlands, low, born to ride the waves high-ho. The captain called his cabin boy as he had done before, a lad from the lowlands low. He says, boy, you can swim, and your stroke is swift and sure. That sassy Spanish ship, she'll never reach the shore. We'll sink her in the ocean, low, sink her in the ocean alone. In your hand you'll take an auger and swim to her side, for we're from the lowlands low. And there you'll bore a hole, and you'll bore it deep and wide, for 500 pounds in gold to be first mate beside. You'll sink her in the ocean, low, sink her in the ocean alone. So that was the end of the Royal Castelline. She sank in the ocean low, her lofty sails so high and her haughty air so free. They were buried in the depths of the raging southern sea. We sunk her in the ocean low, low, low. Sunk her in the ocean low. The cabin boy exclaimed, "Sir, I now demand my fee. Your knave from the lowlands low. 500 pounds in gold you now must give to me, and I also am first mate of the weeping willow tree. That ship built in the lowlands, low, 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 born to ride the waves high-ho. You'll get no gold from me, boy, for causing this wreck. You thief from the lowlands low." And he took the cabin boy by the scruff of the neck, and he threw him overboard from the weeping willow's deck. He threw him in the ocean low, low, low. Threw him in the ocean low. Ah, but he still carried the auger as he had done before. The land from the lowlands low. His heart was full of vengeance, and his stroke was swift and sure. And instead of boring one hole, he bored 24 in that ship built in the lowlands, low, 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 born to ride the waves high-ho. This ship was 200 leagues from the shore, far from the lowlands low. The captain and his crew, they never reached the shore, and the wilds seemed to say, "Fare thee well forevermore," to that ship built in the lowlands, low, 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 born to ride the waves high-ho. But one brave, hearty seaman escaped the raging seas. 'Twas the lad from the lowlands low. He was picked up by a ship, so it has been told to me, and he told to us the tale of the weeping willow tree. The ship built in the lowlands, low, 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 born to ride the waves high-ho. Thank you. I'll do one more narrative ballady thing, and this is... See if I can play this. This is an Australian song, and it's written by a man named John Warner. And it has a chorus. And it's about convicts in Australia who decide that they're going to escape from the secondary penal colony in Hobart, Tasmania. It's a secondary colony because that's where you send the people who've been bad again, and the punishments there are much more severe. And if you try to escape, the punishment is death. But it was so bad that these guys decided to escape, and they sailed. They managed to steal a schooner and sailed across Bass Strait, which is the 90 miles of sea between Tasmania and the Australian mainland. It's very, very dangerous. It's tidal. The South Pacific funnels through it twice a day, or with the tides, and it's rocky, and so they manage to wreck the boat, and they're stuck. So that's what this song is about. Second line is always the same. It's, "And where are you, my Annie?" And then the full chorus is, "Annie dear, don't wait for me. I fear I'll never return to thee. There's naught to do but endure my fate and watch the moon, the lonely moon, light the breakers on wild Bass Strait." Bass Strait roars like a great mill race. And where are you, my Annie? And the same moon shines on this distant place. Shone that night on my Annie's face. Annie dear, don't wait for me. I fear I'll never return to thee. There's naught to do but endure my fate. Watch the moon, the lonely moon, light the breakers on wild Bass Strait. We stole a vessel and all her gear. And where are you, my Annie? And from Van Diemen's north did steer, till Bass Strait's wild waves they wrecked us here. Annie dear, don't wait for me. I fear I'll never return to thee. There's naught to do but endure my fate. Watch the moon, the lonely moon, light the breakers of wild Bass Strait. A mile inland our path was laid. Where are you, my Annie? We found a government stockade, long, long deserted, but stoutly made. Annie dear, don't wait for me. I fear I'll never return to thee. There's naught to do but endure my fate. Watch the moon, the lonely moon, light the breakers of wild Bass Strait. And somewheres west Port Melbourne lies. And where are you, my Annie? Through swamps infested with snakes and flies, and the foal who walks there, the foal he dies. Annie dear, don't wait for me. I fear I'll never return to thee. There's naught to do but endure my fate. Watch the moon, the lonely moon, light the breakers of wild Bass Strait. We hail no ships, though time it drags. And where are you, my Annie? For our chain gang roll and government rags, they mark us out as Van Diemen's lag. Annie dear, don't wait for me. I fear I'll never return to thee. There's naught to do but endure my fate. Watch the moon, the lonely moon, light the breakers of wild Bass Strait. We fled the lash and the chafing chain, and where are you, my Annie? We fled starvation and brutal pain, but here we are, and here remain. Annie dear, don't wait for me. I fear I'll never return to thee. There's naught to do but endure my fate. Watch the moon, the lonely moon, light the breakers of wild Bass Strait. Thank you. Thank you. Something a bit lighter, I think. This one I first heard of an English supergroup starring Tony Rose and Nick Jones. They were called Band Dogs. And I discovered later that it actually comes from Ireland. It's in the Sam Henry collection of songs that Sam Henry collected songs from people all over Northern Ireland and published them in a weekly newspaper. So, and he used tonic solfa notation, which is a way of writing music with plain sort of English characters, dots and commas and spaces and bars and stuff like that. So that he did write the tunes out in that manner. But anyway, so this one is called. Well, if I tell you the title, it gives it all away. It's one of those little joke songs that it sort of goes inexorably to its end. I love these songs. A lot of them are sung at hunt suppers and places like that because everybody knows them, and they're sung every year by the same people, and everybody joins in the chorus. The chorus of this one goes, "Tour a laddie, fall the laddie, tour a laddie, fall the lay." So it doesn't matter if you sing those words, or tra-la-la-la works just fine, whatever you feel like. So, oh, and I should have mentioned that the Anderson's Coast I actually learned from my old friend and another one sadly no longer with us, Danny Spooner, who appeared at the festival a number of times. So. Chorus comes here, tour a laddie, fall the laddie, tour a laddie, fall the lay. Now there was a tarry sailor, and in his town did dwell. He had a handsome wife, but she loved the tailor well. Tour a laddie, fall the lad, tour a laddie, fall the lay. And he said, "This very night you must come and visit me," she said, "for husband's off to China to buy and sell some tea. Tour a laddie, fall the laddie, tour a laddie, fall the lay." Now they were not long a-courting by the tolling of the clock, when a battering at the hall door come loud as it could knock. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. Oh, now where shall I run to? Now where shall I hide? In me husband's tea chest, close to the bedside. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. She ran so quickly down the stairs, she opened up the door. There was a dandy husband and 9 sailors more. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. Well, she flew into his arms, pressed him with a kiss. Says, husband, dear husband, what's the meaning of all this? Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. Well, I have not come to rob you, nor deprive you of your rest, but I cannot go to China without me big tea chest. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. So 4 of these young sailor lads, they been so stout and strong, they picked up the tea chest and carried it along. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. And they had not gone so far as a mile out of the town, when the weight on the tea chest, it made the sweat come down. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. Then one of these sailor lads turned round to the rest, says, I wonder what the devil is a-kicking in the chest. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. So they took out the key and they opened up the chest. There was the randy tailor like a pigeon in his nest. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. Shall we take him out to China? Shall we trade him in for tea? Or leave him in old Ireland to raise a family? Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. So they took him out to China, they traded him for tea, and he made a good supply for the whole ship's company. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. So come all your randy tailors, and a warning take by this: when you go a-courting, never hide in a tea chest. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. Tur-a-naddy, fall the laddie, tur-a-naddy, fall the lee. The tailor in the tea chest. Come on, separate. There we go. Here's another one that I learned from another singer. Well, it's an Irish song. At least this version is Irish, although it's well known all sorts of different places. The story comes around a lot. I learned it from a Scotsman in Canada. But Enoch Kent, some of you will remember him for the festival as well, because he played a couple of times at least. Enoch almost defines the word curmudgeon but a lovely man. So. And now people pay attention and listen to me song. It isn't my intention to detain you very long. I came home from sea the other night, and a lassie I chanced to meet. She invited me to dance with her down on Francis Street. We have to go up a little bit. So says I, "Me pretty fair maid, I do not dance so well, and I am bound for Killaloe town, where me parents they do dwell. I have been at sea for 7 long years, and I've saved up £50, and me parents are expecting me tonight in Killaloe town. Oh, sir, if you would go with me, you'd surely have a treat. I would buy you rum and brandy and something nice to eat. And at 6 o'clock in the evening, I would convey you to the train, and you'd be sure to call on me when you're in town again." Well, this lassie was persuasive and so nice to old Jack Tar, so I agreed to go with her, and so we hired a car. And as we jogged along the street, I heard some neighbors say, "Bejesus, he'll need the jaunting car before he gets away." Well, when we got inside the house, the whiskey was brought in, and when every man had had his fill, the dancing did begin, and me love and I, we danced a reel to a good old-fashioned tune, and I did a couple of double shuffles all around the room. When the dancing it was over, boys, then for bed we did prepare. But when I awoke next morning, oh, the truth I will declare, me gold pocket watch and £50, and me lady friend had fled and left me there, Jack, all alone, stark and naked on the bed. Well, I looked all around the room, but nothing could I spy but a lady's shift and apron hanging up to dry. I tore me hair and I cursed the drink. Oh, Lord, what will I do? The Lord forgive me, Killaloe town, will I ever again see you? And when daylight was departing and night was drawing near, I put on... Excuse me, this is too emotional. And when daylight was departing and night was drawing near, I put on the shift and apron and I walked down to the pier. And as I crept on board the ship, I heard one sailor say, "Bejesus, old Jack has got new ducks before he got away." Oh, is that the new spring fashion, Jack, that you brought from shore? Where is the shop you bought it by? Oh, have they any more? The last time that I spoke to you, you said you was homeward bound. Christ, you might have got a better suit than that for £50. Well, I might have got a better suit if I had had the chance, but I met this pretty fair maid who invited me to dance, and I danced me own destruction with that lassie that was so neat. but no more will I go dancing, boys, down on Francis Street. Thank you. Well, I think I have time for one more. This has been one of my favorite songs for a good while now. It's another poem setting. This from a Canadian, and Hiram Cody was his name, and he lived in New Brunswick, just up the river from where the Marco Polo was launched. The Marco Polo was launched in 1849, I think, and was the fastest clipper ship of its era. Cody wasn't around then, but he wrote the poem about the man who carved the figurehead of the Marco Polo. And my friend Dick Swain, who sadly passed away earlier this year, my friend Dick wrote the tune for it, and he added a chorus. The chorus makes the song. It's called The Old Figurehead Carver, and the chorus goes, while my hands are steady, while my eyes are good, I will carve the music of the wind into the wood. I see some of you know it. Probably because I've sung it a lot. But it's such a great song. I have done my share of carving figureheads of quaint design for the olives and the ruddicks and the famous blackball line, brigantines and barks and schooners, brigs and schooners, brigantines and barks and clippers, brigs and schooners, lithe and tall, but the bounding Marco Polo was the flower of them all. While my hands are steady, while my eyes are gone, I will carve the music of the wind into the wood. 'Twas of seasoned pine I made. I can see that white-winged clipper reeling under scudding clouds, tramping down a hazy skyline with a norther in her shrouds. I can feel her lines of beauty, see her flecked with spume and brine as she drives her scoppers under that figurehead of mine. While my hands are steady, while my eyes are good, I will carve the music of the wind into the wood. 'Twas of seasoned pine I made it, clear from outer bark to core, from the finest block of timber, the mast pond on Strait shore. Every bite of axe and chisel, every ringing mallet welt, brought from out that block of timber all the spirit that I felt. While my hands are steady, while my eyes are good, I will carve the music of the wind into the wood. I had read Marco Polo till his daring deeds were mine, and I set them all a-glowing in that balsam-scented pine. Saw his eyes alight with purpose, facing every vagrant breeze. Saw him lilting, free and careless, over all the seven seas. While my hands are steady, while my eyes are good, I will carve the music of the wind into the wood. That is how I did my carving, beat of heart, stroke of hand, putting into life and action all the purpose that I planned. Flowing robes and wind-tossed tresses, forms of beauty, strength, design, I saw them all, tried to carve them in that figurehead of mine. While my hands are steady, while my eyes are gold, I will carve the music of the wind into the wood. And when my hands grow feeble, my outward eyes grow dim, I will see again those clippers reeling o'er the ocean's rim. Great white fleet of ocean rovers, wind above, surf beneath, and the Marco Polo leading with my carving in her teeth. While my hands are steady, while my eyes are gold, I will carve the music of the wind into the wood. While my hands are steady, while my eyes are gold, I will carve the music of the wind into the wood. Thank you all for coming. Okay. All right. Thank you. Right then. I think I'll give you one of my favorite ballads. And it's another one that Martin Carthy translated out of the Scots. And I haven't done it for a while. It's not short. Is that all right? I mean, one always says, you know, you do an encore, you do something quick and snappy, but this is not. It's called Willie's Lady, and it's set to a Breton tune. It was set by Ray Fisher, and another one that Martin Carthy translated out of the Scots. Thank you, Martin. And let's see. Yeah, Willie goes off on his, he sort of graduates from Cambridge and goes off on his European tour and meets this gorgeous blonde and comes home and says, look, Mother, what I found in Europe, Sweden, or somewhere like that. And we actually got married, and her mother is totally unhappy because she thought Willie should get married to Mary next door. And I tell you all this because it all goes by very quickly in the first verse. She says something should be done about this. You can't, this is not right. And being a witch, she is in fact able to do something about it. So she puts a curse, a spell on her new daughter-in-law that she won't be able to drop the baby, but that she will be in perpetual labor until she dies of the pain. And then Willie will be free to marry Mary next door, and everyone can live happily ever after. So that's the premise, and they sort of have to find a way around this. King Willie, he's gone over the raging foam. He's wooed a wife and brought her home. He's wooed her for her long yellow hair. His mother wrote her a mighty care. And a weary spell she's laid on her. She'd be with the child for long, and many's the year, but a child she'd never bear. And in her bower she lies in pain. King Willie at her bedhead he do stand. Down his cheeks salt and tears do run. King Willie off to his mother he did run, and he's gone there as a begging son. Says me true love has this fine noble steed, the like of which you ne'er did see. At every part of this horse's mane there's hanging 50 silver bells and 10, hanging 50 bells and 10. This goodly gift shall be your own, if back to me own true love you'll turn again, that she might bear her baby son. Of a child she'll never like to be, nor from sickness shall she e'er be free. But she will die, and she will turn to clay. You will wed with some other maid. Sighing says this weary man, as back to his own true love he's gone again. I wish my life was at an end. King Willie back to his mother he did run, and he's gone there as a begging son. Says me true love has this fine golden girdle, set with jewels about the middle. At every part of this girdle's hem there's hanging 50 silver bells and 10, hanging 50 bells and 10. This goodly gift shall be your own, if back to me own true love you'll turn again, that she might bear her baby son. Of a child she'll never lighter be, nor from sickness shall she e'er be free. But she will die, and she will turn to clay. You will wed with some other maid. And sighing says this weary man, as back to his own true love he's gone again. I wish my life was at an end. Up and spoke his noble queen, and she has told King Willie of a plan, how she might bear her baby son. She said, you must get you down to the marketplace, you must buy you a loaf of wax, and you must shape it as a babe that is to nurse. You must put in 2 eyes of glass. Ask your mother to the christening day, and you must stand there as close as you can be, that you might hear what she do say. King Willie, he's gone down to the marketplace. He has bought him a loaf of wax, and he has shaped it as a babe that is to nurse. He has put into eyes of glass. He asked his mother to the christening day, and he has stood there as close as he could be, that he might hear what she did say. And how she cursed, and how she swore. She spied a babe where no babe could be before. Spied a babe where none could be before. She said, who is it who undid the 9 witch knots, braiding in amongst this lady's locks? And who is it who took out the combs of care, braided in amongst this lady's hair? And who is it slew the master kid that ran and slept beneath this lady's bed, ran and slept beneath her bed? And who is it unlaced her left shoe? And who is it who let her lighter be, that she might bear her baby son? And it was Willie who undid the 9 witch knots, braided in amongst this lady's locks. And it was Willie who took out the combs of care, braided in amongst this lady's hair. And it was Willie the master kid did slay, and it was Willie who unleft her leather shoe. He has let her lighter be, and she has borne him a baby son, and great are the blessings that be them upon, great are the blessings them upon.
Thank you all for joining us for the last concert of the series. We couldn't have done this without John. And we hope to, the best audience we've had all year, I will say largest, and we had over 150 people online watching as well. So, yeah. If you could be so kind, many hands make light work, and if you are on